basic understanding what is like to deal with contract. Footballing wise is um
It's a good question. It's really thought provoking.
I wish I could stay probably a year longer at Arsenal
Why?
because there was people more giving more opportunity when I left. Then I was better than them, in my opinion.
Can we get a
So
name?
I don't want to be putting people out there like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying on my A game, yeah, I make people run any day of the week. So I'm just saying, if I was patient enough, I'll probably be giving more opportunity back. Because once you had that loan system, you played every single week in the championship,
It's tough
and
to
to
go
come
back
back
in it.
here and to say I can't guarantee to be on the bench, you're like, nah.
Sounding a bit mad, didn't it? I want to play
Yeah,
football still.
when you got that taste of playing week in week out, you're like, nah, I'm not waiting around.
Couple questions as well because I've just seen actually there actually is two more now. Most underrated player at Arsenal this season.
Um, Granit Xhaka, I just think Granit has gone by his business.
But is
Is
he really underrated now? If everyone's rating his thing, what he's doing
is
in that role.
360. That's a 360 the man done.
True. When you put it like that, true,
It's a
true.
360, like from people wanting him out to what he is now. It's night and days.
I would say, do you know what? I'm gonna go someone different now. It's not they're not really underrated, but I would say Partey purely because when we've won 3-0, nobody really cares about Thomas Partey. But I think in that first half, absolutely amazing. And if he's not there, it's a madness. But then I also feel Benjamin White gets his plaudits, but you've got Benjamin, and I know Ramsdale could improve. I think Ramsdale. I'm trying to avoid the Odegaards, the Martinellis,
No,
the
but
Sakas.
with Partey,
Actually, Eddie, you know what? Eddie and
yeah.
Ketia.
I
Eddie
mean,
and Ketia.
with Partey, yeah. You saw from that first game against Man United, Old Trafford last year. You know what Partey was all about. Remember that game where Partey really took it?
Regulating.
Yeah, you're like, okay, this is what Partey is all about. But as I said, his injury now and again, in and out of the team, all that kind of stuff. But I think with Granit Xhaka has been unbelievable,
Been different. Great gravy, I can't lie.
unbelievable.
Gabriel could be a shout. That could be a
Definitely,
shout, Gabriel. I don't think he gets his plaudits. I feel when Saliba makes a mistake, not that I advocate for this, but when Saliba makes a it's like having two children. It's like,
yeah.
this is your A child who can do no wrong. This is the somewhat black sheep of the family. When Saliba makes a mistake, it's arm around him. When Gabriel, everyone wants to sing it from the rooftops. I know Gabriel needs to cut out those moments, but I think Gabriel's really been good this year for us, man.
Shout out to Gabriel, the doctor though, with that hair transplant. You need to come for that number here,
Hey, Holding gave him the hookup, man.
bruv. You need to come and see man out here, because boy Moses passed through out here a long time ago.
This guy, man.
Yeah,
This guy, man.
you need to
I,
come with that number out here,
this guy's funny,
Let
man.
man know. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, what's the most important thing that Arsenal need to do to win the Europa Premier League?
I'm not even interested in Europa League, bro. 11
Swear.
game to go. 11 cup final to play. Game at a time. One game at a time. 11 cup final to play. International week in a week or so. Yeah.
Yeah, after Palace, I swear.
After
After
Palace.
this week, then it's
Yeah.
chilling off for a bit.
You give people, they come in training Monday, Tuesday. Give them a whole weekend off. Thursday, Friday. Don't come to gym. Come back in next week and we start building up again. Don't even, if you go on a holiday, just make sure you're somewhere safe. Don't go mixing business. So I'm going to go ski. No. Even if you mean confiscate everybody's passport, bro. It's just there in the country. So be it.
I'm on that though. Do you think actually now they're onto that? I meant to ask you, do you think the international break can be a blessing or a curse for Arsenal? Because obviously on one hand we're riding the momentum, but on the other hand, as you said, you give people a rest, people are fatigued, people come back from injury. You hope Partey nothing happens for him for Ghana. Do you like where are you at with that? Do you think it's the best time or the worst time for that sort of international break
I,
business?
I mean, it's all depend, especially like the teams that are fighting relegation right now. Yeah, I want your team, your player to go away. Maybe to go away, different scenario would be good for them. But if you're like Arsenal, where everything is going really well at the moment, am I prepared to send the boys away, knowing that there's a possibility injury, all that kind of stuff? I'll be very much of, and then you'll be worried a little bit because you're like the squad is not big enough to risk it like that in the Premier League. So even if you're making throwing up that fake injury, so be it.
I was just
People,
about to ask you for that. Is that a
people,
frequent thing in football?
yeah, people pull that last minute. Yeah, the squad has been named on Thursday. Comes Saturday after evening. Yeah, my groin is tight. I can't be able to travel. Yeah, forget it. Yeah,
Bloody hell,
'cause
man. What have you? Well, I guess you not without naming names. But is there? Have you got any experiences of people doing that where they probably told you that I'm actually fit. I just can't bother. The manager's a dickhead, or I don't feel like play. You know,
you have to ask yourself a question. How can you play on Saturday and on Sunday you said I can't travel because my groin is tight, and the following week there's no game. The following week all of a sudden the groin is here. You start playing again, play 90 minutes. Does that make sense to you?
Nah, they're trying to do the holiday thing or just be with their family, or they're just not trying to play football. And I guess the groin injuries and things, I know they got doctors, but it's kind of difficult to tell if you're really lying or telling the truth, in it really.
And also like you're not coming in. You can be just a note or an email from your club doctor to the national team doctor.
I hope Arteta's saying that to Partey, man. Partey especially, big up the Ghanaians, shout out Ghana, but you don't need to play for Ghana in whatever international breaks because you always
If
come back
it
with
like
something.
listen, if that game international break has a meaningful behind in terms of World Cup qualification or anything like that,
I
then
don't
I
think it
can
does, bro.
understand. If it's just a normal friendly, bruv, relax, man. Stay at home.
I think that's what, if it is, like you said, if it's a World Cup or African Cup of Nations, do your thing in it. It's national team. But if it's just a friendly, just trying to make some money and get some bums in seats in the stadiums, Party, you don't need to do that. You
They need to
don't,
come.
because it always happens with us, bro. Players come back from international break on injury, slightly even Saka, man. You know, I think we've indirectly done that with Brazil because I think Brazil recently named their international side. There's no Gabriel, not that he went to the World Cup. There's obviously no Jesus and there's no Martinelli. That's what we need to do with everyone, man. The players who aren't playing, go play in it. But the key man, them stay at the club, man.
No, I said, listen, nothing wrong going, but just saying, is it really important? Is it really worth for you to travel all the way down there to play?
Nah, fuck that, man. They're not going, man. Like if you're going, don't play. But nah, no one needs to. Like you saying, you've aroused my imagination with that whole don't let they like get their passports away and stuff like that, man. Keep them locked on under the lights at London Coley, man. Really and
Yeah,
true.
man. The favourites can go to Eurostar to France, innit? What, an hour and 40 minutes a day?
Yeah, man, that's calm. That's calm.
Calm.
Not South
No,
America and this place and that
nah.
place and this. Because I don't even think there's anything wrong with going and play for your country. Something always happens to these players. And I don't want us to see the landscape change because, as you know, with 11 games to go, the margins for error are getting smaller. How do you actually feel with 11 games to go now? Like 11 games to go, it's not in our hands, but it's in our hands. Where
It's like
it's business end, bro.
it's like every game is a cup final. There's a pressure there of performing well. There's a pressure there not to consider a goal. There's a pressure there. If Arsenal start, say, okay, Arsenal come back from international week, they will play at 12:45. There's a pressure there to perform and win the game. If Man City play at 12:45, Man City win, and Arsenal play at 3 o'clock or 5 o'clock, there's huge. That's a different type of pressure.
Facts.
So it's like you have to weigh all this stuff. You really have to think about that. Okay, they have to get it right here. So in terms of that, it's just about this is where you need the Zinchenko of this world where he's been there, done that. Gabriel Jesus, where they've done it with Man City, where just calm people down. It's the experience. Jorginho, calm people down. Say, listen,
Facts.
take a game at a time. You know, we play our way, we control the tempo. This is what you expect from senior players.
Do you think it's a blessing or a curse that, in comparison to City, we're inexperienced? Because Pep's kind of been doing all that mind games. They're the favourites and things, and obviously we're the hunted. They're the hunters, and obviously Pep's team, as you kind of alluded to, two former City players, they've done it before. We haven't been here. Now, on one hand, I feel the naivety that we haven't been here, it can only serve us. But on the other hand, as you said, you need the Zinchenko's, the this guys, the that guys, and whatnot to just keep a cool head, not get too excited when you win. Don't think it's all over when you lose. I just feel generally, I always say, experience is overrated, but it can never be overstated. So where are you at with that?
I mean, Pep is using his mind game here, knowing that fully well that pen and paper Arsenal have been the best team in the country so far this season. Okay. And he's riding the fact that if Arsenal slipped up here, we're catching them. And he will do whatever he take.
Facts.
To disturb Arsenal rhythm, or he's trying to play his mind game on Arteta. Credit to Arteta, he hasn't really right to anything negative against the club. He just say, you know what, we just take a game at a time.
He's seen it all working with Pep, innit? So maybe the mind games are dead because he's been there. We're doing it.
And I feel if Arsenal, if they just ride this long, especially next couple of fixture, you know, you're good to go, man. You're good to go.
Would you make of the next few fixtures? Because I won't say they're favourable, because as you know, every game has to be won on its own merit. But obviously we've got Sporting Lisbon on Thursday. We'll touch on the Europa League in a sec. But focusing on the Premier League, our next 5 games: Crystal Palace at home, Leeds at home,
Okay,
Liverpool away.
stop. Crystal Palace.
Done.
I expect Arsenal to beat Crystal Palace.
I'm scared, bro. Patrick Vieira.
No.
I'm shook. They ain't won this year. They had a shot on target.
There you go. I expect Arsenal to beat Crystal Palace. Who's next?
That.
Leeds.
Fighting relegation.
Yeah, Leeds them to come to Emma, get peppered. No problem. Next.
Amen. Okay, it starts getting a bit techie now. Liverpool, 9th of April, away from home, 4:30.
You don't know which Liverpool turn up, bruv. You and I don't know.
No, we're not. We're getting the serious Liverpool. We're not getting Bournemouth.
But then Liverpool, they're dying to get into top 4.
This is it.
They've got something for their lives. They're fighting for their lives. So I don't know which Liverpool will turn up. And the Anfield,
we need to take 6 points regardless.
I feel like at Anfield, if Arsenal score first, that crowd will turn on Liverpool.
That would be lovely, really and truly, because when I think of Anfield, I think of the atmosphere. I think of it like I've never played there. You have. It must be a nasty ground to play.
Listen,
really.
This is a beautiful place to play, but also as a Liverpool player. But if you're on the opposition side, it's terrible for you. But I'm saying, if you look at Liverpool midfielder, they don't score goals.
That's where they need to improve the most, in my opinion.
They don't score goals. So if you isolate Mo Salah, Darren Núñez, Darren Núñez, what day is, the man don't know what time it is, yeah. And Gakpo, just make sure he has a quiet afternoon. You have a good chance to win, because Liverpool will always give you a chance.
Ask them questions defensively. Look, Martinelli up against Trent in behind. He always gives him a tough day. Robertson's alright, but they can't defend. Like you're watching Premier League week in, week out. The amount of individual mistakes I've seen from Trent, from Van Dijk, from Alisson, from everyone, it's a shambolic one.
Did you see the goal for Bournemouth?
Bro, what was Van Dijk doing? And that's why, where do you rank Van Dijk, as well as going on to that, where do you rank Van Dijk out of the best centre-backs ever? Because I think he's a top centre-back, but I don't think he's in that realm with a couple other men, because he's not dying to defend. Tony Adams wouldn't go for that. Certain man wouldn't go for that. He's just nonchalant. He's almost a bit arrogant, I feel, as quality as he is.
You know what, yeah? You literally said it. Is that arrogant to the sense where when they have 1v1, it's almost the same to the guy, come on then, let's see what you're made of.
Yeah.
You don't do that to people. 1v1, I'm clamping you.
Yeah.
So I would love him to see him play against people like. Anyway, we'll see him on Tuesday when he play against Benzema.
Yeah. At the Bernabeu.
At the Bernabeu. That's when you realize what day it is. Like,
that's when you see where you are in this world. Yeah. Facts.
Listen, I think he's good, but he's fortunate that he hasn't come up with some of the best striker in the Premier League.
And best centre-backs, really. Like what you were saying earlier, he's kind of come at a time where it's not really messed like that. There's not wealth for pulling.
There's not much of guys who are, you can't go to Chelsea play with the likes of Drogba.
Exactly. Even the less household names would give him a tough time, really. And make no mistake, I rate Van Dijk. I just feel best ever, generational. Well, technically, it's doing too much, really. Go on. But yeah, bro. Like, so what? You're saying at home, Crystal Palace